All right, I'm so glad to have on Mekong here, on Bui.
Nat, it's been a while. It's been a while. Been
Yes.
busy, man. But yeah, it's good to see you again.
You too, man. On, if you don't know, if you're new to this podcast, it's a really new podcast. I'm really excited about, by the way. I appreciate you being one of the first guests on.
Wait,
On-
first? What?
One of the first. One of the first. One of the first. He's a serial entrepreneur, or serial restaurantrepreneur, if you will. He owns Mekong Restaurant. He's won 3 Best Beer Bar in America awards by Beer Rate magazine or beerrate.com. He has the Answer Brew Pub, which we're in, which we have these glasses here.
Yep. We're actually enjoying a beer that we brew here right now.
Fantastic.
Lost in the IPA, which
Larson,
we just
won an award.
We just won the Virginia Beer Cup. So.
Awesome. And Commercial Tap House.
Reviving an old name. So
Old name.
it's Commercial. It's one of the first tap house in town. They opened about 22 years ago. So trying to save the beginning of the craft beer scene. So
fantastic. Well, appreciate you being part of Success Secrets. And people always wonder, how did you just become so successful? Was it, an overnight thing?
I don't know what successful is. I mean, how do you define the term successful? I'm just a passionate guy. I just love what I do.
Well, I think success to me, I think people would put in there, when you win countless, best Vietnamese restaurants, best beer bars, not only locally but nationally, that's pretty successul. You do all right for yourself.
I think it's good for this town. I love this town.
Yeah.
And by winning award, nationally, I think it's not just us, but it's for this town.
Yeah.
So it's just bringing recognition to this town.
Yeah.
And I feel good having involved in the beer scene in town with all the breweries that opened up, and Richmond began to be a beer destination. So it's just it's a blessing. So.
Yeah, it's definitely become a beer destination.
Yeah,
so, when did you figure this out? Because you started, Mekong 20 years ago, right?
Yep.
So did this magical thing just come up to you 20 years ago, and you just become really big and become the biggest beer guy in Richmond and probably the nation?
Man, I tell you, it wasn't in a plan. It was by accident, and it wasn't overnight. It was just like Rome. Rome wasn't built overnight.
Yeah.
It wasn't built one day. So it just, we were building brick by brick, and it took us a while to get it going. So it's.
So when did you know? Was it year 5? Year 3? I mean, people always say, if you get past year 3, some people say past 5, some people year 7. When did you know that everything was going to work out or was going to get a lot better?
Well, at the family, we opened this place up in 1995. And my parents, we have 8 kids in the family, and my parents said, you guys are everywhere. Why can't you get something, open a business where you can work together, where I can come and see you guys?
Right.
So that's when the idea of a restaurant popped up to us. And we opened the restaurant up in 95, and it wasn't successful. It wasn't, the first 3 years, so many times that we're close to shutting down.
Ooh.
Yeah, so.
Nobody knows that, huh?
Nobody knows that.
So you were that close, huh?
Yeah, it was very close. Shutting down many times.
Okay.
It just.
Because you had no restaurant background, right?
I wasn't.
Oh, man.
I was still in college, my second year at J. Sargent. And I was actually at first I was major in history, trying to major in history, but then again the family had an idea of opening a restaurant, so I switched to hotel management.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And still haven't finished my college, but anyway, so I have a sister-in-law that we have a sister-in-law work at a restaurant, a Vietnamese restaurant in town. So it's like, maybe she know enough, for us to open a restaurant. Yeah, so.
Right.
But man, I tell you, it's not easy open a restaurant or running a restaurant.
When was the
It was
turning
tough,
point
yeah,
for you?
so.
When do you think that you kind of turned the corner? What year was it, and was there kind of a moment where you can kind of pinpoint and say, we're going to make it?
I think the turning point for us was we actually on the same page as a family. You know how a family, older sibling, we all have different ideas.
Yeah.
So that's the struggling we have in the beginning. And once we figured out a direction that we focus on, that's where the turning point was. That's
Okay.
when we start, the first 2-3 years we had, the food was good, but we have wine.
Right.
And, every restaurant open up wine,
Right.
And food. So it's like, but the thing about us that the Vietnamese cuisine, the wine that go with it, it's not very popular in town.
Oh, okay.
So the popular wine in town is like Merlot, Cab, and Chardonnay, but
Right.
it doesn't pair
Doesn't
well with our
complement-
food.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like so at that point we say let's took a risky move and do something else rather than wine. So that's when I thought about what I mean I know something about beer.
Yeah.
Let's bring in some beer. Let's see if we can start pairing the food and the beer. So that's when we started doing event and tasting stuff like that, and then just the snowball started rolling for us. So
Fantastic. So what was, I'm sure people are dying to know, what was your gateway beer that kind of introduced you into the craft scene? Because, you're kind of the, everybody knows you the CBO, Chief Beer Officer, right? You're the beer czar here. What was that gateway beer that kind of opened up your eyes and your palate to this world?
the things about beer that got me off of it is that it was bitter.
Right.
That's kind of turned me off. But when I had this beer, it wasn't bitter. It was
Right.
malty sweet. It was the Polliner Doppelbock. It's a German beer.
Oh, okay.
That I think, oh wow, this is what beer tastes like. I was like,
Yeah.
I can drink this.
Sure.
So that's when that's when I start digging into some German beer and then some Belgian beer. So it's got that malty background to it. So it just I should dig more in. It's like, oh my God, beer, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So, and then my first craft beer, American craft beer, was Pete Wicked.
Wait, oh my gosh.
So, and then it doesn't exist anymore, but yeah, that was Pete Wicked. Yeah. So.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
a little history for you. That's something I didn't even know about. Now, you seem like you turned this whole craft beer scene, particularly in the RVA community, upside down, and so many more people are exposed to it. There's so many more microbreweries and local breweries here. What did you think caused that revolution and that revitalization, if you will, for craft beer?
I think being just introduced to people to beer and throughout the years, and being I think just being a friend of the people, it just you introduce them to a beer, and then and the next thing is that person introduced the next person to a good beer. But I think for me is that just hanging out and introducing, sharing a beer that I like to people. So
Yeah.
I share my passion with people that's starting to like beer. So and then that person build that passion on them, and then some of them end up opening a brewery in town,
Wow.
or opening a beer
Yeah.
place in town, or a beer retail. So it's kind
We
of
had at least two that I know of.
yeah, so it's kind of starting, to pop
Yeah.
up in town, and then there's more. There's actually a beer community that's supporting it. But back then, when we first have it, is that we have to build a community to support us. But now the community is there, so you just have to open. People come and support. But back then it was tough. We have to build that community to support us.
So how much of that community is part of your marketing? And I know everybody always wonders, like, hey, you're such a well-known name within the city of Richmond and RVA, but you kind of spread yourself out, in order to be the best beer bar in America. And I know people have visited from all over the country, if not all over the world, to this place. It's sort of a beer destination. How do you market yourself?
How do I market myself?
Yeah.
Just being myself, have a good beer. Whoever coming to the bar, have a chat, and talk, and say hi. Just being a normal me, being a regular guy. It's just nothing special.
So it seems like, a big part of what you do is relationships and community. Do you have any strategy or methodology, or do you just, be who you are? I'm not sure, because I'm sure our audience out there wants to kind of capture that secret, if you will.
There's no secret. I mean, I think to me that it's my passion.
Right.
You know, it's my love for beer and the town that I'm in. So it's kind of, you know, there's this fire in me that I love this town. I love beer. I like to talk to people. I like to share a beer or a nice beer, you know, with someone that's beginning to get into beer or who like beer.
Right.
So it's just, you know, and the relationship. You know, I talked to a lot of people and throughout the years, lots of friends. So, and just friends introduce friends, and it's just all about the relationship, networking. So.
Yeah, you do a great job of that relationship building and networking. Now, do you do that digitally at all, or do you do any marketing? So I'm sure people are wondering, you know, how much ad spend they need to do, or how much of the word of mouth they need to focus on. Can you give any insights to that?
Back then, you know, we do a lot of social media.
Okay.
You know, we do Facebook,
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, you know, all the social media you can think of. It's just, you know, something that you can push out that doesn't require, you know, putting ad or money onto, you know, the magazine, stuff like that. So
Right.
back then, you know, or I would say before that, you know, you have to pay to put, you know, your ad in magazine
Right.
or newspaper, yeah.
Yeah.
But you got the social media, it was free to everyone.
Right.
So I was, actually that was part of our successful too.
Yeah.
It's actually Facebook, so.
Yeah. So has it changed any at all? Do you find that because the digital world is changing and things are becoming more, I guess, pay to play than just play to play? Do you pay for any of that stuff at all? Do you boost at all?
Yeah, right now I think, you know, it's just Facebook are not what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's more like it's a fun game for everyone.
Right.
Now it's more like a business for them. So you know,
Yeah, it is.
You have to pay to play. So that's why,
Okay.
you know, we always find, you know, new stuff, you know, a new angle, you know, to reach to our clientele. So.
So tell me about, you know, the Answer Brew Pub. So you went from just more of a restaurant and morphed into a bar, and now you started really the core of this other business is the bar, the beer. How is that different? What made you decide to not only be insane enough to own one restaurant, but two and actually three?
Well, you know, the idea is that you know, there's beer coming in town, but it's not quite as fresh as I would love it to be.
Right.
So it's like, you know, how can I have or enjoy a fresh beer and have the experience and share it with, you know, RVA?
Right.
So it's like, okay, you know, let's you know, open a brew and brew some fresh stuff and see how it tastes. You know?
It definitely
And then-
tastes fresh.
And then if it's good, then, you know, we'll share it with the community.
Okay.
So that's just like, you know, we want that fresh, that's like off of the fermenter, you know, taste, you know, so in your face freshness. So
Tell me, what was the first beer that you felt really passionate about? That you talk about passion a lot, that you kind of fell in love with?
in love with?
Yeah. What first beer you like? Wow, this is good. I mean, you mentioned the peats and everything like that. That you're like, wow, this is cool and this is different. This tastes good. But which first beer? I know you're on this quest for the perfect beer, right? And I'm sure it will be.
I think there's a couple close to perfection that I count to my, you know, life of drinking beer. So, but I thought there was a couple of Belgian beer that when I went on a trip to Belgium that I
Okay.
tasted, and I thought it was almost a perfection, or a perfection beer. So there's maybe 6 or 7 Trappist beer
Okay.
in Belgium. You know, still brewed by monks, and
That's what the term Trappist means, right?
Trappist, yeah. It's brewed at a monastery by
Right.
monks. And
It's divine, right? It's heavenly.
it is divine. It is divine. And we went and visit almost all the Trappists, and we went to this one in Belgium, east of Belgium, called West-Leteren. And
yeah.
and they have a Belgian quad or Trappist quad that we had, and I must have drank like 6 or 7 and passed out. But it was that good, and I thought I was drinking heavenly nectar.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what would be your top 3 beers?
Top 3 beer?
Yeah.
You know, I just don't have a top 3.
I knew it. I knew it. I was going for it. I would try.
There are so many beer out there to taste, and there are new one that people being brew. And it's if I name a top 3, you know, that means I'm not tasting enough beer. So
Gotcha.
So-
So, what, for somebody who's new, you may not hit them right off the bat with a stout or something exotic. What would be a good, gateway beer for the folks who haven't really tried it?
All the local brewery are doing a great job right now introducing beer to people new to beer. So they can pretty much go to any brewery in town and order a flight.
Okay.
They give you all the taster, and you can taste all the different style of beer that they have. So it's just it's the best way to experience beer that way, rather than
Sure.
you walk up to somebody, this is what I like, this is my flavor, what do you have next to it? But if you spread out, like a buffet of beer,
Right.
have at it, there will be one that you like, or you will like them all. So it's the best way, and it's all the brewery in town. They're doing a good job on it. So.
So, the RVA beer scene has just exploded in the last 6 or 7 years. Describe what do you think has made that such a success, and what do you think the future is for the next 5 or so years? I know, Stone is coming and so forth. Everybody's, some people are excited about it, some people are afraid of it. Give us your thoughts.
It's all about building the beer community. We're doing a good job building our beer community. Hollywood doing a good job of building their community. So together we're all building this big beer community that's supporting other brewery. And then when Stone coming in, they even bring in a national audience. So it's going to be a bigger beer community. So it's going to help us all. We're going to have, it's going to bring more people in town, more tourists, stuff like so. Everybody's going to,
Benefit, yeah.
benefit from this. So.
Yeah. So your thought is when tide rises, all boats come up,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So that's I think a lot of times that gets lost in the shuffle in business.
But it's going to be good for the beer communities that it's just more beer for them to taste. It's just everybody step up their game, not just one place in town before,
Right.
and that's all they brew is just that. But now we have so many brewery in town is that everybody step up their game, so it's going to benefit the beer community.
So you kind of have a vision. You kind of see things that are coming up. Who do you listen to? Who do you watch? What do you read to kind of keep your ear to the grindstone, if you will?
I think for me is that I always talk and listen to the beer community.
To your customers, really.
Yeah. Well,
right.
what they like. What's upcoming. Their suggestion. It's like it's the relationship I have with the community. It's listen to them.
Yeah. So it's amazing. You have a great relationship with the beer community, with your customers. How do you balance all with 3 restaurants? A growing family, all these friends that you
And a
have.
new baby.
Yeah, new baby, right?
And a new baby.
Yeah. Now we're number 3 now. How do you balance that all? And keep the wife happy.
I think the secret is it's the family.
It's the family.
I always tell my wife that we have to be successful within our family. Kids are happy, I'm happy, you're happy. We have a house to stay in. We have 3 meals a day. As long as we're happy and successful, that's when your brains are open. You have nothing in mind to worry about. So it helps you with your business that you got more space in mind to think. Rather than you have stuff in your mind behind with the family you have to worry about.
Yeah.
That it's kind of rack you behind. But lucky for me, I have a great family. Great supportive wife. So she pushed me forward. Anything I have, I can always talk to my wife about some subjects that I deal with, and she always clear my head. So I think for me, it comes down to the family, which is my base. So once I have a successful base, then I can go forward. So
That's perfect. It leads me right into the next question, because what are the keys to running a successful business and being successful?
Well, I don't know. I just don't know how to suggest how to run a successful business. I still don't see myself successful, But I can tell people that I have lots of friends. It just in the business I'm in, I love what I do, and I meet lots of people every day. I think and enjoying a beer, with somebody I like or somebody that like beer, and have a good conversation on it. I think that's a successful for me.
Yeah, sure.
Not in terms of financial, but it just, to relate somebody in an area that you really have a passion on, and you share that same conversation, to me, that's successul. So.
Right, so you jumped the gun. So that was my ending question. What do you think success is? But that's okay. Let me ask you this then: what if you have a budding entrepreneur now, a restaurantpreneur, and they come up to, or just a budding entrepreneur, and they want to just open a business. If you had to leave behind 3 principles to live by to run a successful business or a successful life, what would you share with them?
Well, the 3 principles I always share with my employee are, respect, reliable, and trustful. That's the 3 that I live by with all the employee I have. Is that you work with this company. This is what I like to see from you. I like well, can I rely on you to show up on time, to get along with everyone, stuff like that, or can I trust you to trust you and trust that you can get along with everyone, or trust you to do your job, and respectful. Make sure that I respect everyone. Make sure that you respect everyone. So that's the 3 principles I always live by.
Fantastic. Well, I'm gonna wrap it up with one last thing here, but before I do, can you share with everybody how to connect with you, whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, or online?
Well, having 3 places, you shuffle everywhere, and the new baby toy, you got a babysit toy. It's like, a lot of time, if you drink a nice craft beer, you'll relate it to me. If not, if you want to see me in person, come by the Ants or Mekong, or I'm all over town, or visit a brewery, stuff like that. So, or on Facebook, Twitter, you can follow Mekong or Ants on Twitter. So, Instagram. So, okay. And then that's just. I always
all 3 places there. You can connect with them there. Mekong Restaurant, the answer. He's always shy about a lot of publicity. It's amazing.
I still am. Yeah, it's I still put down a lot of speaking terms or showing up events and stuff like that. I'm a shy guy, so
And actually, I'm gonna have not one more question, but 2 more questions.
2 more questions?
Yeah, 2 more. I was going to only have 1.
I got to go back to work. This is, I've been taking over my time.
So that's what it is. He knows how to manage his time. Key to success says. There's a running joke with you about Zima. Where did that all start? Because everybody's dying. There's people always, and you have the sign there.
Where did it start, huh? It's forgot to tell you earlier, but back in the mid-90s, Zima was.
It was the thing.
Zima was the thing, yeah. So, you go to every clubs and there's Zima.
Right.
Popping everywhere. So yes, back then I did drink Zima. So that and then they went out of business, and this is my running joke nowadays that I love Zima. So everyone that know me is like, I love Zima and he loved turtles. So
last question for you. It's many years from now. You're like 110. Okay.
Well, if I can live that long, yeah.
Yeah. I think you will, man. I think you have a lot of friends. You're always happy. So I think that's a key to living long life. What is it that people will want to know about you? What would you want to be on your tombstone that has a lasting impact, that you've had a lasting impact in this world?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe, if a person lived that long and sharing with someone that, I once had a beer with on.
Awesome.
A good, nice craft beer with on.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Cool.
Cheers. Keep making great beer.
Thanks for dropping by.
My pleasure. All right, everybody. That's the end of this episode. Keep tuning in. Let us know how you like it. Comment below. Share this with others. And remember,
beer is
the
answer. I still have that in. Thank you, Nat.
Thanks, man.